Hi guys. I didn't think I would do an update anymore, but I get a lot of messages asking me what happened since my last update. I would first like to thank those who left comments in my last post. I wasn't in a good place back then, but I read all of them and I appreciated all of your advice and comfort. So, to the question, did I meet Marie and her family? Yes, I met them. I met them at my house with my mom. Before the meeting, I had sent a long audio message to Marie's parents telling them everything I learned from her AP and saying I was tired of her playing the victim and painting me as the villain. There was nothing left to be saved in the relationship, but if the rumors keep going, I was willing to expose Marie in our social circle because it was unfair to suffer from something that I did not do. I told them I had to cancel the meeting unless she come clean. Immediately, Marie's mother called me and said Marie had finally told them everything. She had removed her posts and came clean in all of her social networks. I don't use Snapchat or Instagram, so I couldn't say if it was true. I had to call one of our mutual friend to check, and yes, she came clean. I felt trapped in my own game because given how important it is to save appearances in a traditional family like Marie's, I thought she would never do that. So I maintained the meeting. I thought it would be difficult to meet Marie, since every time I thought back to our moments I saw myself scratching a lot. I thought seeing her would be too much, but in the end it wasn't. When we met, I almost didn't recognize her. She lost weight in such a short time. She looked very sad and lost. She couldn't put her eyes on me. She didn't even talk to me. We were in our living room and had small talks at the beginning until her mother started to beg me to take her back. She was very insecure, that's why she did what she did. I had already prepared myself on what I wanted to say and the questions I had, so I did not deviate from that. I first asked Marie why did she lie about her past and pretend to be someone she wasn't? She started crying and wouldn't look at me. Her mother said she was always judged on her past and asked me if I knew the truth. Was I going to still date her? I told her that the answers to the ifs weren't important at that point. It just led to imaginary paths, and the only path that mattered was the one where she chose to lie about her past, and that brought us to where we are. It was the only reality, and in that reality, I've been in a relationship all this time with someone who didn't exist, who lied to me, and who I'll never know what's true in anything she ever said to me. In short, her parents kept defending her, but Marie still wouldn't speak. The discussion went around in circles, and in some point, seeing how determined I was, they asked me for the sake of the love I ever had for their daughter to postpone the wedding and take the summer to think about everything. I didn't expect that request. It confused me. I did not know what to say. My mother, who had been silent from the start, saw that I was struggling to answer. She said she had already spoken with me and I had already made my mind, and if in the future I come to change my mind, she will advise me not to do so but will still support my choice. She said the meeting was to give them a closure and not to consider a reconciliation. She told them I was traumatized, I lacked sleep, and that I had been acting weird since then, about me scratching myself, lol. Nobody spoke for a while. Marie asked to speak to me in private. She insisted it was not to convince me that she would accept my decision if I gave her a one-on-one. I told her I didn't think it was a good idea to be in a room alone, but we could go outside to walk. And that's what we did. We walked for about half an hour. It was the first time I felt her so vulnerable and where she finally took accountability for her actions. She told me it was true that she had a promiscuous past. She never had any trauma that explains this. She grew up in a loving family. It was probably just her nature, but she started having sex at 12. At 15, she used to have different partner at the same time. At 18, she had already slept with 40 people and she had stopped counting after that. She told me she had never known love before me. She just looked in sex for a way to be loved and to seek validation. She was loved by AP. She never knew a man could love her the way AP did. She thought that was what she was looking for. Ultimately, she couldn't love AP the way he did. She couldn't stop sleeping with other guys because the only time she thinks she could love was when she get intimate with someone, but after that the feeling disappeared and only remained a feeling of emptiness. She eventually got pregnant, started loving her unborn child, but had a miscarriage. That's when she started questioning her whole life. Her family moved away so she can start over. She broke up with AP because she didn't love him, but he was a good person and loved their friendship, so they never stopped communicating. Even before meeting me, she had heard of me and Samia. The first time was in a fast food where Samia and I used to eat. We were friends with the owner's son, and he knew us too, and used to offer us kebabs. He always used to take pictures of his loyal customers and other things and put them on the walls of his restaurant. Among the photos, there were two with me and Samia. One where we were 11 and another where we were 19. Everyone in the neighborhood knew the story behind the 19-year-old picture. It was my birthday. I was born in September, so Samia had worked all summer to be able to give me a dream birthday. She bought me a tuxedo, and she put on a nice evening dress. She rented a limo waiting for me in front of my house. She promised me a dream evening. We got into the limo, but 200 meters later the limo stopped. She said we had arrived at destination, but we got off in front of the modest fast food. I was too embarrassed to have put on a suit, have a ride in a limo, and ended up in that fast food. She have that kind of humor. But that was cool. We ordered the same kebabs that the owner used to offer us, and she bought a muffin and put a candle on it, lit it, and asked me to blow on it. The owner had taken a picture in that moment and liked to tell the prank that Samia had done to me. Even if she did, gave me the greatest birthday after, but that is another story. So when Marie found out about the story, she asked for more. People told her other stuffs here and there, and that's when she said she wanted to experience this kind of love. When she met me and knew that I was the guy in the picture, she wanted to know me. She was intimidated by the story she heard of me, and before she knew it, she had started lying to hide her past. And when she realized that she was already attached to me, she couldn't take those lies back, because if she told me the truth, I would never want to see her again. She felt guilty throughout our relationship. She discovered that she was in love with me. It was the first time she felt love without having to sleep with someone. And the only reason other than her lies she couldn't sleep with me were she was scared that her love would vanish after that. Our relationship was everything for her, but she thought the lies she told meant that we had no future if I found out. She felt unworthy of me. That's what fed her insecurity about losing me. And she hated herself so much she was sabotaging the relationship, and one of her behaviors was going back to her demons and cheating on me with AP. Reality hit her hard when I found out the truth, and that's where she lost herself. She didn't know she was able to turn into a monster in order to try to keep me in her life. She made up excuses. She tried to guilt me into staying with her. When she realized it wasn't going to work, she passed out and spent time in a hospital. She didn't want to live anymore, not because she lost me, but because she realized what she had become, and it was unbearable. She says she didn't want to force me to be with her anymore, and even if I forgive her, she would never forgive herself. She says she started going to therapy to find out why she did what she did and who she really was. She says it might be a long process, but if I could find compassion in my heart to forgive her and help her be a better person, she would be grateful to me all her life. I won't gonna, but at that moment I was so weak when I hear her request that I almost agreed to keep in touch in order to help her. I had so much empathy with this woman who hurt me, it was crazy. But I knew from the moment I saw her that the feelings I had for her didn't no longer existed. I explained to her that I needed to distance myself to heal, and that she didn't need me to heal, that she thinks she needs me. But to heal, she have to face these things herself, and that's the only way she can grow out of it. She says she already knew what I was going to say, but if she didn't try, she would have regrets all her life. She tells me she accepts my decision, but she is not giving up on me. And she will seek to become the best version of herself, and she believes in the future we will reunite. I wanted to tell her that I could never be with someone who cheated on me or who has cheated before, but I kept quiet. I just said that I had moved on and that it wasn't good for her if I gave her hope. She said nothing. We ended up talking about something else. Her parents contacted her and told her they were already home, so I walked her at her house before going. I told her I will be in. It was the only healthy way to heal. She agreed. But that will be so hard because we will be in the same neighborhood and we might run into each other from time to time. She asked me for a last hug. I hugged her and I left, and frankly I felt lighter after this talk. I had no more anger, and I still have no anger in me. Maybe it will come back in the future, as I have been told healing is not linear. That's basically the meeting. So to the question, did I meet Samia? Yes, I met Samia twice, but I'm not sure this is the right sub to talk about it. Maybe I'll do a final update before going to my summer vacation for anyone interested to find out what happened and where I'm going from here. Thank you all. You were great help all along. Edit. Fiancé cheated and put the blame on me and my ex. Everyone feels sorry for her and asked me to forgive her.